There are moments in life when the noise fades, and all that's left is you, your thoughts, your fears, your doubts, your dreams. Most people run from that silence. They chase distractions because solitude exposes the truth. But the truth you avoid in the crowd is the very truth that will set you free when you're alone. Being alone is not punishment, it's preparation. It is in solitude that the foundation of greatness is laid. Every person who has ever risen to power, walked in purpose, or discovered destiny has walked through the valley of isolation. Because separation always precedes elevation. You cannot find clarity while surrounded by confusion. You cannot hear divine direction while lost in human noise. When you're alone, you meet the real version of yourself, the unfiltered, unpolished, unmasked you. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Growth never comes through comfort, it comes through confrontation. You must confront your weaknesses, your inconsistencies, your hidden insecurities. The mirror of solitude shows you what applause hides. Solitude is preparation, not punishment. When life pulls you into seasons where no one seems to understand your journey, where friends fade and familiar voices grow distant, it is easy to mistake that silence for abandonment. But solitude is not a sign that you've been forgotten, it's a sign that you're being formed. Every purpose requires preparation, and preparation demands privacy. Just as a seed must be buried before it can rise, you too must endure hidden seasons before you bloom. The moments when you feel alone are the moments when you are being developed for something greater than your current surroundings. The world may see absence, but heaven sees alignment. In solitude, distractions die, and discipline is born. You learn to listen beyond the noise and to trust the quiet voice that speaks within. It's in those hours of stillness that you confront the weight of who you are and what you've been avoiding. You start to understand that growth doesn't happen in the crowd, it happens in the cocoon. The caterpillar doesn't transform surrounded by others, it does so in isolation. That cocoon feels confining, but it is crafting wings. Likewise, your solitude is shaping strength, character, and vision that cannot be developed in comfort. When you are alone, you begin to see your life with new eyes. You discern who is meant to walk with you and who was merely passing through. You stop seeking validation from others and begin to find confirmation within yourself. The applause of the crowd can be deceitful, but the approval of purpose is undeniable. Solitude teaches you how to stand without support, how to walk without company, and how to move when no one claps. It teaches you resilience, the ability to keep going when no one is watching. Many resist solitude because it strips away distractions and exposes truth. But that's the gift of being alone, it reveals what truly matters. You start to hear thoughts you've ignored, dreams you've delayed, and wounds you've disguised. Solitude becomes a mirror reflecting your potential and your pain, showing you what needs to heal and what must grow. In that sacred space, you gain clarity about your direction. You stop reacting to the noise of the world and start responding to the voice of destiny. Greatness is never born in the crowd. It is conceived in solitude, nurtured in struggle, and revealed in time. Every visionary, every leader, every reformer has known this season of divine isolation. They understood that being alone doesn't mean being empty, it means being equipped. Your solitude is not punishment, it's your personal training ground, the place where you build spiritual stamina, emotional endurance, and mental focus. It's the workshop of your destiny, where you are molded into the person who can carry the weight of your calling. Solitude is preparation, not punishment. When you find yourself in moments where the world feels distant, where the laughter fades and the noise disappears, you are not being isolated to suffer, you are being separated to strengthen. Every person destined for something greater must first walk through a season of quiet shaping. The absence of company does not mean the absence of purpose. It means the environment around you is being cleared so that clarity can take root within you. In the silence of solitude, you start hearing the voice of purpose that was drowned out by the noise of distraction. The crowd entertains, but solitude educates. It's where lessons that cannot be taught by people are whispered by experience. In solitude, the mask falls. You no longer have to perform, please, or pretend. You are left with the raw version of yourself, the one that cannot hide behind titles, possessions, or recognition. This is where self-awareness is born. It is where your weaknesses surface, your strengths sharpen, and your convictions deepen. You begin to understand that solitude is not a space of emptiness but a field of preparation where your roots grow deeper before your branches stretch higher. Just as a seed must be buried before it can blossom, solitude buries you only to bloom you later. The darkness you feel in isolation is not the darkness of despair, it's the darkness of development. When no one is around to encourage you, you learn to draw strength from within. When there's no applause, you learn to affirm your own progress. This is where mental and emotional endurance is built. You realize that real confidence doesn't come from being surrounded by people, it comes from knowing who you are when no one is around. Solitude becomes the training ground where you master yourself. It forges the inner stillness needed to face the noise of the world. Those who cannot be alone are often those who are easily shaken, because their strength is borrowed, not built. Solitude forces you to build. It takes away the crutches of dependence and replaces them with the muscles of discipline. There is a divine pattern in solitude that every great life follows. Before elevation comes isolation. Before manifestation comes meditation. Before influence comes intimacy with yourself and with your purpose. It's in solitude that visions are refined, ideas are born, and direction is received. The absence of people creates the presence of perspective. When the world quiets down, your spirit becomes louder. What others see is loneliness, heaven sees as construction. The solitude you fear is often the classroom where destiny teaches its deepest lessons. You are not being punished when you are alone. You are being positioned, trained, and prepared for the season when what's being built in private will finally be revealed in public. Separation always precedes elevation. Before every rise, there is a removal. Before every breakthrough, there is a breaking away. You cannot soar while still carrying the weight of everything familiar. Life has a divine way of pruning what cannot go with you to the next level. The people, environments, and habits that once fit your season may no longer serve your future. Separation is never comfortable, but it is necessary. It is the space where you are refined, where distractions are stripped, and where destiny becomes clear. The process of being set apart is what gives strength to those who are called to go higher. It is in that separation that you discover who you truly are without the influence of others defining your value or direction. Elevation requires clarity, and clarity demands space. When you are surrounded by too many voices, you cannot hear your own. When you are entangled in the expectations of others, you lose sight of your own vision. Separation creates the silence needed for insight. It's the moment when life disconnects you from the noise so you can realign with purpose. You start realizing that not every companionship is covenant, and not every connection is meant to continue. Some relationships are meant for comfort, not calling. When destiny calls, comfort often resists. To rise, you must be willing to release. There is a divine order hidden within separation. Just as the eagle pushes its young out of the nest to teach them to fly, life will push you out of comfort to reveal your capacity. At first, it feels like rejection, but it's really redirection. What you lose in people, you gain in perspective. What leaves your life is often making space for what's meant to enter. The separation tests your focus and measures your faith. It asks you, can you still trust the process when the familiar disappears? True elevation is not about climbing higher physically, it's about rising internally, growing in wisdom, strength, and purpose. And that inner rise can only happen when you've detached from what limits your movement. Separation is also a test of obedience. Many want the blessing but not the breaking, the reward without the release. Yet, the higher you go, the less weight you can carry. Every new level requires a lighter load. This means letting go of relationships that drain you, habits that delay you, and mindsets that diminish you. You cannot take small thinking into a big destiny. The process of separation stretches your faith, matures your vision, and strengthens your spirit. It forces you to depend not on comfort but on conviction. Every divine elevation begins with isolation, because greatness cannot be cultivated in a crowd. The separation you fear is often the bridge to the future you've been praying for. It's the doorway between where you were and where you are becoming. Silence reveals what noise conceals. In a world filled with endless distractions, constant notifications, and the pressure to stay connected, silence has become one of the most powerful yet feared environments. Noise keeps you busy but not productive. It keeps your mind full but your spirit empty. When everything around you is loud, it's easy to lose touch with your inner voice, the one that carries truth, wisdom, and direction. Silence doesn't just quiet the external world, it amplifies your internal awareness. It forces you to confront thoughts and emotions you've ignored. It unveils what noise has kept hidden: your true desires, your fears, your pain, and your purpose. The moments you spend in silence are not moments of inactivity, they are moments of discovery. Silence has a language of its own. It speaks in clarity. It whispers truths that can't be heard in chaos. When you learn to sit still and embrace quietness, you begin to hear what your soul has been trying to say all along. Many people run from silence because it exposes the reality they've buried beneath constant motion. But you cannot heal what you refuse to face. Silence brings you face to face with the things you've avoided, the decisions you've delayed, the emotions you've suppressed, the dreams you've silenced. It shows you where your life is out of alignment and gives you the space to correct it. In the stillness of silence, wisdom is born. The greatest insights don't come through constant activity but through still reflection. When the mind is quiet, creativity flows. Ideas that were once clouded by stress become clear. You begin to discern what truly matters and what was only noise disguised as importance. Silence separates the essential from the irrelevant. It refocuses your energy and renews your spirit. The peace you find in silence becomes the strength you carry into the noise of the world. The person who learns to master silence learns to master self-control, because silence teaches patience, awareness, and inner peace. Silence is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of focus. It is the sacred ground where growth takes root. In the quiet, you find courage. You find purpose. You find the strength to continue when life becomes overwhelming. Every great decision, every clear revelation, every deep transformation begins in silence. The noise of the world distracts you from what is eternal, but silence connects you to it. It's in the quiet where divine direction becomes clear, where your heart steadies, and your path straightens. Those who avoid silence remain trapped in confusion, but those who embrace it uncover truth. The wisdom of life doesn't shout, it whispers, and only in silence can it be heard. Isolation is where transformation begins. Every great change starts in a place of stillness, in the moments when you are pulled away from the crowd and forced to look inward. Isolation feels uncomfortable because it removes everything familiar. It separates you from the voices that used to guide you and the comforts that used to sustain you. But that very discomfort is the soil of transformation. When you are isolated, you are not being abandoned, you are being refined. It's in the solitude of isolation that the raw material of your life is reshaped into strength, clarity, and wisdom. The caterpillar's transformation into a butterfly happens alone in the cocoon, hidden from sight, wrapped in darkness, but undergoing divine change. The same process happens in your life. Isolation creates the space where old versions of you die, and new versions of you are born. Transformation cannot happen in the presence of constant validation. As long as you are surrounded by noise and opinions, you remain tied to what others think you should be. But when you are isolated, you no longer have the luxury of performing for people. You have to face your own reflection, your own fears, and your own truth. It is in that encounter that transformation begins. Isolation strips away pretense. It dismantles the false layers you've built to survive and forces authenticity to emerge. It teaches you to rely not on applause but on alignment, not on company but on conviction. When you stop seeking comfort in others, you start finding strength within yourself. The process of isolation is not meant to break you, it's meant to rebuild you. It removes what cannot endure the weight of your future. You start to unlearn habits that once felt natural but no longer serve your purpose. You begin to release attachments that drain your focus and delay your growth. Isolation reveals the difference between what is essential and what is excessive. It shows you how much of your life was built on the opinions of others rather than the direction of your own purpose. The silence of isolation becomes the forge where resilience is shaped. Isolation also teaches patience. Nothing transforms instantly. Just like a seed buried in the soil, you cannot see the progress while it's happening, but growth is taking place beneath the surface. The hidden season is necessary for strength to mature. When you are isolated, you learn endurance, you learn how to sit in uncertainty without losing faith. You begin to trust the process even when you can't trace it. The version of you that walks out of isolation is not the same as the one that walked in. Something within you shifts. Your perspective deepens, your confidence strengthens, and your purpose becomes clearer. Isolation may look like confinement, but it is actually construction, the sacred place where destiny reshapes your character before revealing your calling. Private strength creates public impact. The world often celebrates the results of greatness but rarely sees the private battles that built it. Every person who stands with confidence has fought in silence. Every voice that carries authority was first shaped in obscurity. True strength is not developed in front of the crowd, it's developed behind closed doors, in moments of discipline, struggle, and surrender. Private strength is the invisible foundation that supports visible success. Without it, everything you build eventually crumbles. The quiet hours of dedication, the unseen sacrifices, the decisions to stay committed when no one is watching, those are the moments that separate the powerful from the pretenders. You don't become strong when people see you, you become strong when you decide to grow when no one cares. Private strength is born in consistency. It's what you do daily that defines who you become permanently. The person who shows up in silence will always outperform the one who performs for attention. Every small act of discipline, every quiet moment of persistence adds weight to your character. Strength is not proven in public, it's prepared in private. What people call confidence is often the reflection of hidden endurance. The hours you spend training your mind, mastering your emotions, and protecting your peace are investments that eventually yield visible results. The world may never applaud your preparation, but your impact will reveal it. There's a reason why true warriors train in secret. It's not to hide but to build without distraction. Private strength protects you from the fragility of external validation. When your worth is rooted in what people see, their opinions can destroy you. But when your strength is built in private, no criticism or rejection can shake you. You've already fought greater battles in the dark than any that can come in the light. The quiet rooms where you wrestle with doubt, the long nights where you choose faith over fear, the mornings where you rise despite exhaustion, these moments shape a strength that can't be imitated. Public success without private strength is temporary. You can impress people with appearance, but only substance sustains impact. Private strength gives depth to your influence and integrity to your actions. It's the difference between a flame that flickers and a fire that endures. When you build yourself privately, you carry stability into every public stage. The world needs people who are strong in secret, people whose character can carry their calling. Private strength doesn't just prepare you to succeed, it prepares you to last. It builds the resilience to endure criticism, the patience to wait for timing, and the humility to stay grounded when success comes. Every great story begins with unseen chapters. The world only reads the pages you reveal, but the power of your story is written in the parts no one saw. Destiny speaks loudest in solitude. When the noise fades and the world grows quiet, that is when the voice of purpose becomes clear. Many people miss their calling because they are too busy listening to everyone else. They chase the opinions of others and drown in the expectations of the crowd, but destiny does not shout in chaos, it whispers in quiet places. Solitude is the sacred space where that whisper can finally be heard. When you are alone, your distractions disappear, and the stillness allows revelation to rise. You begin to hear direction that was hidden beneath the clutter of constant movement. The absence of noise creates the presence of clarity. Solitude is not a place of emptiness but a place of encounter, where purpose and identity meet face to face. In solitude, your spirit becomes sensitive to what truly matters. You start to feel the pull of where you are meant to go and who you are meant to become. It is often in moments of silence that visions are born, not through loud achievements but through quiet awareness. The greatest assignments are not handed out in crowds, they are whispered in solitude. That's where destiny introduces itself, not with applause, but with conviction. You begin to see patterns in your pain, meaning in your struggle, and purpose in your waiting. The isolation that once felt like loneliness becomes the environment for divine communication. When you stop seeking approval, you start receiving instruction. Destiny doesn't speak to busy hearts. It speaks to still ones. Solitude gives you the emotional space to listen without interruption, to question without fear, and to grow without pressure. It teaches you to distinguish between the voice of your ego and the voice of your purpose. You begin to recognize which dreams are yours and which were borrowed from others' expectations. Solitude strips away illusions and exposes truth. It refines your motives and strengthens your intention. It aligns your desires with your design so that when you step back into the world, you move not by reaction, but by revelation. There's a sacred rhythm to destiny's voice, it calls you inward before it sends you outward. Solitude is the classroom where you learn that rhythm. It's where patience is developed and perspective is deepened. The world may see your stillness as inactivity, but heaven sees it as preparation. You are being tuned to the right frequency, trained to discern direction not from noise but from knowing. When destiny speaks in solitude, it rarely gives full explanations, it gives instructions, and those instructions shape your journey. The silence that once felt like absence reveals itself as divine communication. What feels like a pause is often the preparation for purpose. In solitude, you are not disconnected from life, you are being directly connected to the voice that defines it.